Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to those of you across the land, across the pond. I am Leo Brown, here again with another My Thoughts video. Before I begin this video, I want to say um, that I find this sad that we have to discuss this again. And as someone who, you know, could be Mr. Nichols, uh, this really hits home. And as someone who's lived in Memphis, Tennessee, this hits home as well. So before I begin my thoughts on this and how my opinion, and not necessarily how I feel, but just my opinion, what I'm thinking, I want to say thank you to all of you for watching, for commenting, and for subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot. Make sure you like, make sure you comment. Most of all, I really would love to hear your comments. And if you can, subscribe. It really does mean a great deal. Now, so here's what we know about the Tyre Nichols case. First of all, I want to say to Mr. Nichols and his family, I really express my sincerest condolences. I find this so sad. He was so young. He was in the beginning, in my opinion, of his life. He was just getting started. So here's what we know. He lived in, I believe, San Diego. He was a skateboarder. He was a father. He loved his family very much, and he ended up relocating to Memphis, Tennessee. And I did not want to put the pictures of the 5 police officers who did this murder, and who assisted and aided and abetted in it. I didn't want to do that, nor have I watched, nor do I intend to watch the video. I refuse to watch that. I think we, as people of color, Black, white, Latino, it doesn't matter. We have been subjected to enough trauma porn, and I don't feel like subjecting myself to that. But here's what I will say, and here's what I want to say. I think, and well, apparently the motive is that apparently the motive is that one of the officers, his ex-girlfriend, used to date Tyree, used to date Mr. Nichols. And that's why things escalated the way they did. And actually, I can kind of believe that because I believe that Mr. Nichols worked at FedEx. And if you know anything about Memphis, Memphis is actually very small. So that doesn't shock me, to be honest. It doesn't shock me at all. If that is the case, if that happens to be the case, that does not surprise me. I think what hurts the most about this for many people, myself included in a sense, but I think for many, what hurts is that it's one of our own murdering one of our own. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, here's the thing, and I'm going to say something that a lot of people may not agree with, and that's fine. You can disagree with me. It's okay. We're all adults. Just keep it cute, okay? But I think a lot of us have grown up with the adage of keep it in the family. You know what I mean? If she can't use the comb, don't bring them home. That kind of thing. And I think because the 5 officers happen to be Black, though there is a 6th officer who was white, or who is white. I think it hurts us because it's like, well, how could we do that to us? We're used to other people doing that to us. But it's, to quote Zora Neale Hurston, it's like she said, just because we are all skin folk doesn't mean we're all kinfolk. And we're not. And I think oftentimes, because even if you go back, like go all the way back before we were even transported over here, think about how we got over here. Okay? I know a lot of us don't want to hear that. A lot of us, we want Black liberation, we want Black unity, we want a utopian society where we rule and we are the ruling class. I understand that. But I hate to break it to you, baby, but that's not the way it is. Because for every person, for just because we are of the same race or we have the same racial background does not mean that we think, does not mean that we act, does not mean that we feel the same way. We have a lot of us that could give two shits about this. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, if that wasn't true, you would not have the Candace Owenses and the Diamond and Silks and the Officer Tatums and the Hodge twins, who, by the way, despite the political views, I would sit on their faces. But that's a whole other show. Um, you wouldn't have them in the world. You really wouldn't. Uh, you wouldn't have the Omarosas, the opportunists. You wouldn't have people like that. Because even back before we were, transported here, I'm pretty sure there was somebody in our tribe, right, that was like, well, I don't like you. I don't like you either. And here we are. Okay. So we have to let go of that thinking that just because we are of a minority and we are marginalized, and this goes for any minority group, whether it be women, whether it be gay people, whether it be Black women, excuse me, whether it be uh, Latinos, you have to stop thinking, well, just because we are in the same boat doesn't mean that we won't sell each other out to get on a different boat or to be in a different body of water. Okay, we have to let that go because I think that's what's making this so shocking for a lot of us. Is that it's like, well, how could they do that to us? Listen, you got people in your own family that sell you for 10 cents, if not more. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry, my nose is itching. So sorry. But you have people that will sell you for 10 cents, maybe less. You know what I'm saying? In your own family. So what makes you think that just because they're cops, right? And they happen to be Black, that they're gonna be good to you. We have to stop thinking that. We really do. And here's another thing about the whole cop thing. Now listen, I have policemen in my family. I come from a police military family. Personally, I think that there are good cops in the world, but it's like every other job. You have good cops, you have bad ones, you have good nurses. I've met quite a few nurses that didn't give a shit, didn't give a fuck, didn't care about the patients, only cared about getting in money. I've met teachers the same way. You have good and bad in every profession. And it's not the profession that's the problem, it's the people in it. And the fact that when it comes to police, right, you have a lot of police departments that don't think about, well, wait a minute, we might want to take care of your mental health. We might want to look at your background a little bit. Why are you really becoming a cop? Because for many who are good cops, and they are out there, just like what we may think, and what we have heard, but and what we've seen, but you know, because you have people that are like, listen, I got into this job to really help stop crime on the street. I got into this job to really, get rid of the bad guys. I really want to help people. I want to make it better. Same thing with nursing. I got into this profession to heal people. Even in my industry, you have good and bad. You and I, like we all know this. We know about scammers, psychics, and how they want to take you for all your money and tell you that you're gonna die, and oh my God, you got a curse on you. Like, oh my God, how many of us have not heard that? We have. Okay. If you follow me, I've done a video about that. I've done several videos about that. It's in every profession. Okay. And I think the one thing that we have to really let go of too is thinking, well, just because you're a cop, you're gonna, I can't trust you. And unfortunately, for people of color, Black and non-Black, right, we have a automatic fear and distrust of cops. Think about it, all the way going back to the days of slavery, when you had the slave catchers. Okay, I'm going a little deep, but I'm just being honest. So, and I'm just expressing myself. But I don't believe that all cops are bad. I just don't. I don't think it's being a cop. I think it's being a bad person. Because trust me, like I said, I've met teachers, doctors, lawyers that were shitty, that didn't give a fuck. They were like, well, I don't give a damn. I did my job, whatever. I've met people like that. Trust me when I tell you, it's not far fetched. It's not the profession that's the problem. It's the people in said profession. And I think when people hear defund the police, I don't think it's necessarily take the policeman or the police down. I don't think it's that. I think it's more so, well, the funding that we give, which we do give it because we vote for it, right? So the funding that we give police, let's put it into other things. Let's put it into background checks. Let's put it into mental health. Let's put it into volunteer work. You know what I mean? Things of that nature that can de-escalate and decrease police brutality, regardless of color. And for me, it's like, and I'm not gonna lie, I used to be one of those people that was like, oh, I don't see color. We're all one race, the human race. But and that is true to a point, but let's keep it honest, okay? We have to see color. We have to. We have to see what's staring in our face. We have to face it. Because I can tell you, as someone who and this is a whole nother video, but which I'm actually gonna post too. But as someone who has being with non-black men of color, the one thing I do is I'm like, listen, you have to understand that once you and I step outside of these four walls, the world is different for you and I. Okay, even and especially when we're together. You know what I'm saying? So let's face this. And I think even in this, you have to face that. And also, the one thing that this is bringing home too is that yes, we are black, but we're not monolithic. Not every black person can play spades. Not every black person can dance. Not every black person is musically inclined. Not every black person likes fried chicken and watermelon. Yes, I'm being a little stereotypical, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Because if you looked at Tyre Nichols, Mr. Nichols was a skateboarder. Mr. Nichols was a free spirit. He was a photographer. He was a father. He loved his family. He was a family man. Not saying that black men aren't that. But you get what I'm trying to say? We're not the images that we often see represented or that we represent on ourselves. We're not all, on Baddie South fighting each other. And I wish somebody would get Zeus and Natalie Nunn and all them bitches and just, yeah, that's all I want the show. But you know what I'm saying? We're not reading each other down like on Real Housewives. Not all of us are like that. Okay. And it's just sad that this young man's life had to end in such a, dare I say, an ignorant way, in an unjust way. And it's just sad. And I honestly believe that these people thought, well, ooh, we're cops, we'll be fine. Listen, just because you had that badge, it don't mean that people are gonna protect you. Because let's be honest, we do know it's just like the military. There is a cliquishness. It's called the thin blue line for a reason. There is a cliquishness in said groups. I mean, that's true for frats too. I mean, let's look at the Divine Nine. Trust me, I know people in frats. And trust me when I tell you, it's some cliquish things in those things. All right. But you thought that, oh, well, we're cops. We'll be fine. They ain't gonna care. You thought wrong. People are tired of seeing their own people die. And it's just like that, it's just like that meme that we're seeing. Black men deserve to grow old. And we do. I am Tyre Nichols. You know what I mean? I am. And every black man in the world, not just in America, but in the world is Mr. Nichols. It's not just in America. Okay. And I have to say this thing too. I'm gonna be honest. I don't care for Sean King. I don't care for Al Sharpton. I don't care for Ben Crump, and I'm gonna tell you why. Al Sharpton, I feel, is an opportunist, and he's a blowhard. Because trust me, baby, I remember when you were fat and in the '80s and talking all kinds of shit. Trust me, you've always been on my list because If you go back and listen to a lot of the shit he used to say, oh yeah, no, you're a dick. Just because you lost weight and deperm your hair, it don't mean you're a good person. And I remember when he was trying to run for president too, but that's a whole other show. Benjamin Crump, I feel is an ambulance chaser. That's just me. I really do. I feel like he's an ambulance chaser because every time something happens that gets media attention, here he comes. Excuse me. Now, mind you, I understand that people ask for him, but I don't. I don't like that. Something about that to me just seems very opportunistic. That's just my personal opinion. Um, and then, of course, lastly, we have Shaun King, which goes without saying, aka Martin Luther Cream, aka the grifter that could. I'm not a fan of Shaun King now, though I would do some dirty things to him, but that's a whole other show too. Yes, listen, I can like deplorable people. That don't mean I won't have sex with them. Having sex with them is a different movie. Okay. And I'm nasty like that. But anyway, that's a whole other show. But the point is I don't like them. I don't care for them because I feel like they are using this man's memory. They're using this man's death. They're using all this momentum, all this anger, all this frustration, and they're capitalizing off of it. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I think it's awful. Um, so I I don't know. I just think that this is sad all around because you have five five maybe six people who, in my opinion, are definitely going to go to jail. And even if they don't, say let's just say they don't go to jail or justice doesn't get served, their life will never be the same. And trust me, they're from Memphis, bitch. I lived in Memphis many years ago. Memphis does not play when it comes to people being. Trust me, they better pack their bags, get some black wigs on, and get the hell out of town. Memphis is not one to be played with. Okay, and I guarantee you, there's probably bounties on their head right now. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But I want to know now, now that I've shared my thoughts and I've said my piece, and you can agree with me, you can disagree with me, or you can be in the middle, in between. I want to know what you think about this. What do you think about, the Tyre Nichols case and what's going on? For those of you who chose to watch the video, I salute you and I thank you because you did it. You did a better job than I, because I don't know if I could do that. But what did you think? What's going on? And I want to know, for those of you who live in Memphis, how is it? What's going on in Tennessee right now? What's the atmosphere in Memphis right now? Let me know. So I just wanted to come on and share my thoughts about this. So until next time, my sugar bears, I say to you, be learnable, be teachable, love yourself, and most of all, be you. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I will talk with you guys very soon. Have a great week. All right? Be safe. Bye bye.